Hi, I'm Sebastian, and in this video I'll show you how to use the yFiles MCP server to enable your IDE software agents to work with yFiles for HTML. Specifically, we'll look at JetBrains Junie implementation and how to configure it with the yFiles MCP server tools. These tools let Junie access API information and documentation so it can work with yFiles more efficiently, without any guesswork or hallucinations. So let's dive in. For this, I started the yFiles dev suite using npx yfiles-dev-suite to start the development server. This, right on the front page, has a section about AI-supported development. And this explains how you can use the yFiles MCP server to teach your LLMs to probably work with yFiles. So we tested the MCP servers with a series of different coding agents and IDE integrations. And in this example, I'm going to be using JetBrains Junie and asking it to work with yFiles. So I have WebStorm installed and there's an empty project in here and there's no configuration in there. And I have an active Junie installation working. So first we need to tell Junie about the MCP server we're using. This is the configuration that you will typically have to use. You can copy this one over here. The command to run is npx -yes yfiles-dev-suite --mcp. That's the command to start the MCP server. And we need to tell the Junie to use this to work with yFiles. So we're going to open the settings, going to enter MCP, going to Junie MCP settings, and add a new server. So this opens up the configuration for all the MCP servers, and we just paste in the yFiles MCP server. So this will execute npx with the commands, and this is a standard I/O server. So let's launch this. JetBrains, the IDE automatically launched the MCP server, and now we can use Junie to work with the tools. So we'll open a new Junie session and ask it to, for example, scaffold a new project. So here's an example. Create a vanilla TypeScript project with yFiles and Vite. Just paste it here and off we go. So the tools we have tell Junie where to get and how to install the yFiles dependencies from the dev suite. The dev suite already has an evaluation license, a valid one, and this is important. You need to have an active evaluation or commercial license for yFiles for HTML, and you need to be logged into the dev suite. You can determine whether you're logged in if you scroll down and check out the logged in. And once you're logged in, you will be able to use the tools. Now let's get back to Junie and see how far it got. So it asks us to run some commands. Let's do that. And this will copy over some guidelines that we specifically prepared for Junie, and so that it gets the basic understanding of how to work with yFiles. And the tool automatically copied over the yFiles license from the evaluation version together with a license file, and Junie is now running additional steps and updating things like the package.json, tsconfig.json, and creating the simple Vite project. So this will probably create some source folder and some public folder, a regular simple Vite setup. So there's index.html coming, and there will be a graph visualization in there, and it's it's probably going to create a source file, main.ts, which contains the basic graph configuration. So this is all happening automatically and is done by Junie. So if I had used different instructions, it could have created a different application initially. Using the tools, Junie can automatically check the documentation for yFiles, check the API docs for the various features in yFiles, and search for help just as you would do as a regular user. So now it's working on main. Looking good so far. Very simple application in here. Asks me to again run npm install, and after this tell us more about the progress. So we're almost done. So now let's go package.json. There's a dev project. Let's run this one. And now this starts an application. And here is a very simple graph. But this is a live yFiles graph. And we can go back to the code and modify the code and to be more interesting, or ask the IDE to can you add editing functionality? Now it will go and check the docs and modify the code accordingly so that we can interact with our graph and edit it interactively. As you can see, it looked up the documentation for the classes, checked out example codes, and now we'll be integrating the code into the application. So that's how you configure the yFiles MCP tools with JetBrains Junie. Let me know what you created with Junie and the yFiles tools.